Good afternoon, CMST 430. My name is Brendon Favre, and this is my Module 2 discussion, Take 2. We'll jump right into question 1. Discuss how your vision or view of ethics differ or are similar from those discussed in the text. My view of ethics is that we should always go into things with the best of intentions. We should always be open and honest and not be misleading with what our intentions are. We should enter into relationships in both our personal and professional lives with good intentions and good means. This is discussed on pages 45 and 46 of the book. From the major ethical perspectives chart listed on page 47, and as someone who really hates gray area, I would say my views are most similar to utilitarianism and deontology. The set of rules or values and the decisions we make should be clear and not open for interpretation to eliminate any gray area, and should support the greatest number of people possible. In life, we're not going to be able to cater to everyone or please everybody, so we just need to make sure we're doing the best job that we can. I would also align with the justice perspective. Everyone should have the same basic rights and responsibilities. Our status in life shouldn't be based on race, sex, or religion, and we should all be afforded the same opportunities in life, and it's at the end of the day, it's up to us what we do with those opportunities. My views would differ the most with ethical and psychological egoism. I think in our society today, these views are becoming more common, and it's more about serving self-interest first and serving others second. Especially in politics and in positions where people should be serving others first. That's not very common nowadays. Question 2, discuss how your views of ethics have changed over time. Please discuss both points in time where your view of ethics has changed, how they changed, and what you believe your ethical perspective is now. My view of ethics has drastically changed from when I was a teenager to my early 20s to my mid-20s to now my mid-30s. In high school, my sense of right and wrong was placed second to getting what I wanted, or getting my way. As long as the end result was what I wanted, I didn't care, even if that meant compromising my morals or my ethics. I would communicate in a manner that was most effective to achieve my desired outcome. In my 20s, as a young enlisted soldier, I worked as a team, but I'd promote my self-interests first. If whatever task was being performed wasn't going to benefit me directly in some way, I was less likely to put maximum effort and was more willing to cut corners or not follow procedure in doing something. As I got married and became a leader in the military, my viewpoints really began to change. I started choosing to spend time with my wife over going to the bar with my friends, or I would work through lunch, stay after work, or come in on the weekends to ensure that a soldier understood and was proficient on their job or a task or skill that we had to do. I would compare this view to the utilitarianism viewpoint. I also became a real hard ass when it came to regulation, policy, and procedures. There was no gray area or other way of doing something. It was either the right way or the wrong way. We had manuals that told us exactly how to do something, and that's how we were to do it. 3, based on the text, what are the most important ethical issues you need to be aware of in the workplace? Why is it important? What are the implications or consequences of the issue? And how do you know if the issue is being appropriately handled or responded to? One of the most ethical issues we need to be aware of is organizational abuse. This is important to be aware of to prevent ourselves from being taken advantage of, being coerced into doing something we don't agree with, or is violation of our ethics or morals, or being manipulated. And a lot of organizations, workers are viewed as expendable or replaceable. If you were to die today, they'd have a replacement for you tomorrow. This type of mentality is used to keep workers in line out of fear of losing their job. This can be found on pages 50 and 57 of the book. We also need to be aware of intrusive behaviors of an organization, as they have the right to monitor what we do on company-owned equipment and email. They shouldn't have the right to monitor or regulate what we do on our personal devices or in our free time, our personal time. That should be private. We need to be able to read and understand what company policies are and know what our employee rights are. if we're aware of these, it's less likely that we'll be taken advantage of, and we will know the proper channels to go through if an issue arises. One big thing with this is that, you never want to take what somebody says at face value. You don't want to ask your manager, you don't want to ask somebody like that about a regulation or a company policy because they might not be interpreting it correctly. You need to go straight to HR or look it up in policy itself. You don't want to take somebody's word on it, because if they're wrong or no, I never told you that, or whatever may come up, then you're going to be responsible for that, not them. So you need to do your own due diligence, and you need to make sure that you're getting it properly, whether it's written in policy or from HR itself. Question 4, based on reading your case study, what ethical issues do you see present in the case that were also present discussed in the text? Be clear, specific, and cite both the case and the text. Had a hard time finding this case study, but I finally found it. The article highlighted several issues, the first being ethical egoism, discussed on page 47. The company Merrick was more concerned with pushing their own agenda, making money. They went against their own self-proclaimed motto of putting people over profits. They focused on facts that fit their agenda only and not the bigger picture. Vioxx may have caused less stomach bleeding, but it caused more heart attacks. They knew about this early, and they went away from that and just focused on the positive spin of it. They pushed for fast approval from the FDA, knowing of the possible side effects, just trying to rush through it to get it to market so they could start making money off of it, and not doing long-term studies to verify or deny them before having it hit the market. They knew about it. Instead of taking the time to do more research, they just went ahead and pushed it out on the market anyway, knowing that it could potentially kill people. I would consider this to be organizational abuse, as people taking the medication are going to be considered customer or clients of the organization. This is discussed on page 50 of the book. An organization can be both internal and external, and these are customers taking this drug, so that's why I would consider it organizational abuse. Merrick was also deceitful by misleading patients and thinking that the product they were taking were safer than they actually were, and that they were safer than the other products on the market like naproxen, and I think Celebrex was the other one, where in fact it was not. It did reduce stomach bleeding, which was the main concern with the other ones, but again, I would consider a heart attack a little bit more risky. They also hid information in the beginning when they knew the elevated heart attack risks, and did not divulge this information. It was confirmed later on in a long-term study that they confirmed it, but then they continued to sell the product anyway and trying to deny it as much as possible. This was also seen when they removed a month from the long-term study to cover up the number of heart attacks which occurred. In the 10th month, they did a 9-month study, which was actually a 10-month study, but they cut the 10-month out because that was where they had the greatest number of heart attacks. This is also discussed on page 50 of the book. If we are only doing good for recognition, are we really even doing good? Merrick wanted to promote that they're doing all this stuff with HIV and reducing all this, doing all this good through the community, but they were more concerned with looking good than actually doing good. They only gave back to the community to tell people that they gave back to the community. Hey, look at us, we're doing great things. It wasn't really to help people. It was a double-sided agenda. They used coercive and deceptive communication when advertising the drug to ensure, by ensuring doctors that it was safe when they knew it wasn't safe. They told, they provided pamphlets that with misleading information and graphs on it. They put out company emails, saying don't discuss this. If a physician brings up a news article or asks you about the heart attack risk, then get off the subject. Don't answer it. Don't do anything. And they went as far to try to bully one of the doctors that was questioning the study and sending emails out about it, by saying, there's going to be repercussions if you keep kind of poking the bear type of a deal, trying to keep people under a thumb. For question 5, apply the text. How might the ethical issues be addressed in such complex cases? In this type of case and many like it, it's important for people to do their own research. Doctors and patients should not just use a product or service just because someone tells them to or tells them it's okay. We really have to advocate for ourselves, and we got to do our own due diligence. You can't rely on others to have your best interests in life. We really need to make sure we do our own due diligence. It's like buying a car, doing anything. You don't just go and buy the first car you see on the lot or whatever. You need to do your research. You need to find out if this fits my needs. If it doesn't fit my needs, you would think even more with something with taking a medication, because it's your body, what you're putting into your body. You really have to make sure what you're putting in there is safe and it's not going to kill you. And that's about all I have for this discussion. Thank you, and have a good day.